Good day, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of the HJC podcast, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm your host, Ryan. Be sure to listen, download, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and, of course, HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. We got a great list of topics to talk about today. We got the All-Star Game coming up this weekend, so, of course, we're going to touch on All-Star Game jerseys. We're going to determine the best All-Star Game jerseys amongst the writers on the podcast today. And we're also going to dive into our jersey collections and talk about some great deals that we've scored over the years. And, of course, we'll hit our regular features, Fake or Authentic, Throwback Throwdown, which is kind of interesting this week, and we'll dive into the HJC Mailbag to get your questions. And, of course, there's a chance to win a free HJC sticker, so keep listening to the podcast for that. Joining me today, Monday's writer, Sean. How's it going in Eastern Canada, Sean?
It is freezing cold, but I'm wearing a beautiful Victory Green Dallas Stars jersey, and I'd like to thank them for losing to the Leafs a couple nights ago.
They certainly did. I think if you've subscribed to the special video edition of the HJC podcast, you'll notice that 3 or 4 hosts, writers are wearing Victory Green Dallas Stars jerseys. So that's the theme of today's podcast. Joining us, Wednesday's writer, Phil. Phil, it's good to have you on the podcast.
How's it going, everyone? Only guy here, by the way, not with a Victory Green Dallas Stars jersey. I have a nice Islander jersey right here, specialty jersey. So I got that going for me. Otherwise, great.
Phil got the memo and then put it through the shredder.
I don't have a Victory Green Stars jersey. I had to
Well, get one then.
I thought you were going to say, I don't have a shredder, but that's not.
I could use one of those too.
Also joining us today, friend of the show, Beepo. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. I hope this goes good because I woke up for a nap just for this.
I hope it goes well,
So it's
too,
worth
because I always like when the podcast goes well. All right, everyone's here. Everyone's accounted for. Let's get started. Up first, we're going to be ranking the NHL All-Star Game jerseys. This is an all-time ranking, just amongst the writers. We also had Thursday's writer, Justin, submit a list for this, but he couldn't make the podcast last minute, so that's okay. We will still include his ranking in the final ranking. So what we've done is we've come up with a top 5 list. All the writers are going to share their top 3 so as to not to waste your time. I've compiled the list. We'll come up with the top 2, and then from that top 2, we'll collectively agree upon the best All-Star Game jerseys amongst the 4 of us. So what I would suggest you do is, if you have access to the internet now, go to the fantastic website, NHLuniforms.com. That's the unofficial NHL uniform database. And click on the All-Star Game section so that you can follow along here. We will give you a brief description of the jerseys, but it'll also help visual aid if you can check that website out. So let's get started. I'll start with my number 3. My number 3 All-Star Game jerseys is 1987 Rendezvous in Quebec. This is where the NHL All-Stars took on the Soviet national team. This is a white jersey, orange shoulders, orange stripes outlined in black. And then above that, there's an extra black stripe on the arms. I think this is a really solid jersey. It does kind of look like a New Jersey Devils 1980s jersey, but I love how the orange comes through and really identifies the team as the NHL All-Stars, because there's also 2 stars on the chest. Sean, why don't you tell us who you got at number 3, a little description, and why you chose that jersey.
At number 3, I have the 1989-91 and then again in 93 jerseys. The only difference between the 2 of them is the number color. The jerseys are very simple. They're very similar to 2017, except in the old NHL orange, black, and white. Very simple armband with a simple head stripe with stars between them. These are some of the first All-Star jerseys I actually ever saw, and some NHL Pro Score hockey cards that I got at a friend's birthday party, and I thought these are really neat. You know, I think that given the color scheme, this is something that would not work today, but the old NHL color scheme, these were the best ones to come out in that time. They didn't use orange, which was nice and refreshing, and they've aged quite well. You know, they do look like they're from 1991, but at the same time, you could wear them today and they'd look just as good.
Great points. Phil, who do you have at number 3?
Okay, so my number 3 is the 2004 All-Star Game jersey from Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, because they all had a nice two-tone color pattern. The Western Conference was all green with the cream trim, and then the Eastern Conference was cream with red trim. And it was classic, and it was something perfect that you would expect that fit the Minnesota Wild color scheme and looked great for what they say is the state of hockey.
All right, Brendan, who do you have as your number 3 slot?
I also had the 2004 All-Star Game, so I'm going to skip on the description since Phil just said that. And I like it because it's a very nice and simple pattern. I think I'm somewhat of a traditionalist when it comes to design, so this really fits the bill. But it's a little bit modern because, at least not until some recent years, they really started having a slight inconsistency. Like, for example, on the arms, it's a northwestern stripe, but on the hem, they basically take out half of the stripe, but it's still consistent. And they don't overdo it with the stars and some of the other garnishings, but it's not underdone either, so that way it's too simple. The only thing I'd probably change is the number and the name font. I think a solid one-color number would work better, and maybe a little bit more traditional of a name font, but overall that's pretty small potatoes.
For my number 2 slot, I'm going to piggyback on what you guys said because I put the 2004 jersey in my number 2 slot. And actually, the font on the back is a direct copy of the Maple Leafs. I don't know if they were doing that by 2004. I don't remember. But, yeah, it's a direct copy.
I can look that up for you, by the way.
Yeah, it's a direct copy of the Maple Leafs. Or maybe the Maple Leafs copied the All-Star Game jerseys. I don't know. But from the 10 years previous, they were doing very modern designs, which works for the All-Star Game. I'm on board with that. But just how I associate Minnesota with classic hockey. So when you had these kind of faux back jerseys that came out for the game, I really, really enjoyed that because of the 10 previous years of modern designs. And then, after that game, they went back to modern designs. So that's why the 2004 Minnesota jerseys appear at number 2 on my list. How about you, Sean? Number 2.
At number 2, I have the 2008 Winter Classic jerseys.
All-Star?
Jesus Christ, All-Star jerseys. They are, in fact, the All-Star jerseys. Yeah, this is the mystery Reebok template that we almost never saw, and I'm disappointed that we didn't see it because it was one of the first jerseys I can remember in the Edge era to use side paneling. And these jerseys did that very well. I felt they used it a little better than the 2007 jerseys that were almost identical, but the blue jerseys did not link the pattern from the pants up to the hem and underneath the arms. The script on them, I think, is very nice. And overall, I think that for the era, this was one of the nicest things that would come out and one of the nicer All-Star jerseys that would come out until about 2011.
Interesting choice, but you're Sean, so that should be expected. Phil, your number 2 All-Star Game jersey.
Okay, real quick, by the way, it was indeed the Leafs font. They were using that from 2000 all the way through 2010.
Okay, great.
And as for Sean's choice, I'm going to say I don't like that at all, mainly because that was the All-Star Game in which Rick DiPietro got hurt. His only All-Star Game nod in Atlanta, and he gets injured during the All-Star Game.
Well, hold on just a second, because I think a mouse's fart would injure Rick DiPietro.
Oh, absolutely it would. I'm surprised he didn't hurt himself on the radio doing what he's doing now. My number 2 jersey is the 89 to 91 and the 93 All-Star Game jersey. More so the 93 jersey because of the change in number color and font color. It's a classic look. It's got the full-length yoke pattern. It's got nice traditional striping, but with stars inside of it, so it looks modern. And it's just an overall classic look.
Excellent. Good point. That jersey will show up later on someone else's countdown. Brendan, who you got as your number 2 All-Star Game jersey?
I have one that I have a feeling that wasn't a popular pick among the couple people here who submitted a list. The 64 to 68 All-Star Game jersey. It's a white jersey with a number on the front and the back. I'll get to that later. 2 stars on the chest. a black hem trim and cuff trim, and two small. It's very similar to the striping pattern on the Sabres recent Winter Classic jerseys, except it's black outlined in orange. And I picked this one because whenever I was looking through these jerseys to see which ones I thought were my best, part of what I was thinking of is how well could it be brought back today and not look dated. And I thought this one would fit the bill perfectly, especially if they brought it back for like a more vintage looking game. And it is similar to the Sabres Winter Classic, so you know how well those worked out. I think it's just a really classy and simple design. And the only thing that I would change about this is the number on the front of the jersey. I'd put a logo there. But again, I think that's pretty small potatoes because I really like the striping pattern of this one.
Yeah, they definitely could use this one for inspiration if they wanted to go with another classic look All-Star game. But that's a solid choice. That's a solid jersey, Brendan. All right, it's time for our number ones. I'll lead us off, and it's been mentioned in other lists. My number one All-Star game jersey is the 89-93 black and orange contrasting jerseys. And I'll say these are my favorites, not so much because of the look. I think the look is fantastic, but also what these All-Star games represented to me. And this was my childhood, growing up watching Wayne Gretzky on TV and Mario Lemieux. And I thought the All-Star game was just such a big thing. Look at all these superstars who are going to go play hockey against each other. So I really enjoyed it. I remember the skills competition the night before. The players would still wear their team jerseys, but they would throw on the All-Star game pants, and it would just look weird, but at the same time cool because these were All-Stars. They earned those pants, and these represent my childhood, so that's why they got number one on my list. Sean, number one All-Star game jersey on your list.
At number one, I too have to pick a very nostalgic jersey for me, and that would be the 2002 jerseys. The thing about these jerseys, I hear them, and I hear you, and I understand. I want to make something very clear. The next year, that white jersey was brutal. That white jersey was absolutely brutal. I think
a necessary evil, though.
Yes, a necessary evil, but it was brutal. I say it for the same reason Ryan did. These were the first All-Star Game jerseys I ever saw. They were in 2 consecutive NHL games, the ones that I still play the most to this day, NHL 2003 and NHL 2004. I've seen these jerseys in real life, and I happen to like the design on them. They are quite dark, and I'll give people that. And this is purely me looking at something that I really thought was the coolest thing ever when I was younger and that my favorite players would wear. But it was also the end of something, the North America versus World format that I think is the best All-Star Game format.
Sean liked the dark jersey, shocker.
And everything he just said, you're such a millennial, jeez.
Oh, God.
All right, Phil, before Sean can speak, what's your number one jersey?
Okay, my number one jersey is the 94-97 jersey. And the one with the star pattern on the front, which ended up being the inspiration for the Dallas Stars set from 2000 onwards, or I think it's 99 onwards. Either way, because it literally was all-star. So incorporating that star pattern onto the body of the jersey, and then having that pattern adapted by the Dallas Stars later, it just shows you how great of a jersey it was.
Good points, and I'll always remember that jersey for the game in Boston where they were tied 4-4.
Well, not only that, but the other thing is, obviously we all make our complaints about the turd burger and stuff, but this was the only jersey, in my opinion, that had a front that was significant or mostly a different color than the back of the jersey, and it actually pulled it off for once. Yeah,
this totally worked better than the turd burger. The turd burger was a cape. I don't know. The turd burger was a mishmash. That jersey, the 94-97 jersey, has direction. You understand what they're trying to do, and they accomplished it. And it could have been wacky and crazy, but it hits the mark, especially for its time and for its purpose.
And not only that, but I believe it was also the longest tenured jersey since 1978.
That is accurate.
So obviously, it has to be good enough to be kept around that long.
Absolutely. All right, Brendan, number one on your list.
quick little side note first. Speaking of the Stars taking inspiration from the All-Star jerseys, take a look at those 2002 jerseys that Sean likes for some reason. Look at the arm pattern on it.
Oh
Remind
yeah,
you of any other Stars jersey?
Don't worry. I'm quite aware of that.
See, I've never actually heard anybody talk about that before, though, and I realized it, like, I don't even know when, but at some point I realized that, I'm like, did they do that too?
We'll talk about the Mooders on another section of this program.
Oh boy.
Okay. Anyways, my number one is 1984 to 86. It's a orange jersey with a small black hem stripe with white trim and a large full-length yoke with white trim, black with white trim. The white is a reverse of that, orange with black trim. And as you guys know, I'm sure by now, I'm a big fan of a lot of color. This has a lot of color on it. It doesn't have too much black, but has enough to make sure it's not too bright. Then I picked this over another jersey with a very similar design, the 83 design. Wait, not the 83. I think there was another one that looked pretty much the same, but it had solid color numbers. Unless I'm thinking of something else here.
You might be thinking of something else.
It was similar to the 83 jersey, but it just didn't have the drop shadow on the front or the striping trim.
And the 88 jersey had your solid numbers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I must be thinking of a different jersey that I saw whenever I was looking that had solid color numbers, but this definitely wouldn't be a good time for solid color numbers or even just a small trim because it wouldn't stand out enough. The amount of drop shadow and strokes that they put on the numbers and the name works perfectly. The stars aren't overdone, but they aren't underdone either. I maybe could tone them down a little bit, but they're not overly in your face, and it's a slightly dated design, but still a pretty nice looking one that I think could probably still work today.
You could find a way to make that work, or at least take inspiration. And I totally agree with you on the point of the stars. There's lots of them on there, but it's totally not overdone. It's really actually well done. All right, so if you took everyone's lists here, including Justin, who couldn't be on the podcast, the top 2 All-Star Game jerseys. Coming in at number 2 is the 89 to 93 jerseys. This is from the games in Edmonton, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Montreal. That's number 2. Coming in at number 1 is the game from Minnesota, the 2004 jerseys. So let's take a moment here to pick your favorite. I'll start us off. It was number 1 on my list, and it's not going to change. The 89 to 93 jerseys, that's who I'm picking as the winner. Sean, who do you got as a winner here? 89-93 versus 2004.
I'm giving it to 89-93. Those are nice jerseys, and they're black.
That was the selling point. They're black. All right, Phil, you could end it right here. Who are you picking as your winner?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with 89-93.
89-93. Any particular reason why you chose it over 2004?
I mean, because the color pattern was more NHL-centric instead of host city-centric. And it's something that lasted quite a while and something that you could feasibly repeat numerous times. Whereas 2004, it's only the 1 year in Minnesota. That's it.
Yep, absolutely. Brendan, are you going to make it a clean sweep here?
No, I don't think so. I'm honestly I almost want to, because you guys are actually making some good points that I didn't really think of before. But I still like the 2004 ones, I think mainly just because of the color. And the 93 ones that you guys all love were very close to making my list and easily could have just made my list. It was just tough to really narrow some of these down. But I'm just going to stick to what I had for my list, and I'm going to go 2004 on this one.
Well, they were both solid All-Star Game jerseys, but amongst the writers, we have spoken, and the greatest All-Star Game jersey of all time is the 1989 to 1993 All-Star Game jerseys. Thanks for playing, everyone, and of course, lists are made to be debated. It's all opinion. It isn't fact. So if you want to get in on this conversation, be sure to leave some comments or even email us, mailbag@hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. Coming up later in the podcast is your chance to win a free HJC sticker. So keep listening. You're listening to the HJC podcast every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. Listen, download, and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. All right, it's time to dig into our jersey collections now. And over the years, I'm sure we've all come across some fantastic deals. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about just a few of the jerseys that we've got for a fantastic deal. I'm going to start us off just because Phil's on the podcast and Phil loves the Islanders. I have to mention the Islanders jersey that I got for, I think I probably paid too much for it, but it was on sale.
Probably.
It was on sale, the Road White, and this is just when they changed from the Reebok Vector logo to the Reebok word mark on the back of the jersey. So it was accidentally on sale on NHL Shop for $12.95, and there's no way I'm passing up any jersey, maybe except for the Turd Burger, for $12.95, and that was Canadian too.
Even a Canadian's jersey.
Okay, sorry, you're right, Phil. You're right. I'm going to add a Canadian's jersey, a Senators jersey, and the Turd Burger, and that list is subject to change and grow. Those jerseys I would not pick up for $12.95, but the Islanders Road White jersey I did, and that sits in my collection. I rarely ever wear it, but it's in the collection and adds to the numbers. It's like a Facebook friend. It's just a number. So that's my first one. Sean, a great deal you've gotten on a jersey.
With the switch to Adidas, a lot of places were looking to clear out their Reebok stock, and the wonderful folks at Cool Hockey were no exception. Over the summer, their massive amount of Reebok stock was on incredible clearance. But for those who don't know, they do the very nice hand stitching that makes your numbers look really nice. And during this sale, there was a point in which Reebok stock had been cleared down to $49.99 for a blank jersey and free customization. So I picked up 3 jerseys: a Mike Greer 2010 Buffalo alternate, a Sidney Crosby 2014 Stadium Series jersey, and a Pavel Demitra 2011 Vancouver alternate jersey for under $150 for all 3.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good deal. That's good. And this summer, I think we tried to warn people that to be heads up for Reebok deals, and some exceptional deals came out. Pro Hockey Life I think Pro Hockey Life still has some on. Go check out prohockeylife.com. They may still have, if you're listening to this in January 2018, they may still have Anaheim Ducks home Reebok jerseys on for $56 Canadian. So there are still deals to be had out there for Reebok jerseys. Phil, great deal you have in your jersey collection.
Okay, so I've got 3 deals that I was able to stumble across. The first one is for the jersey I'm wearing right now. This is a Hockey Fights Cancer New York Islanders jersey, specialty jersey, that I was able to pick up at an Adidas outlet over in Hicksville, Long Island, by the Broadway Mall. $15 in a tent sale. $15. That's it.
That's a good deal.
That's a good deal. Another one actually happened just this Black Friday. Lids had a 30% off deal for all jerseys for any league, and they're an officially licensed supplier. So I was able to pick up an Islanders Adidas Authentic, or Indo Authentic, I should say, away jersey for less than what you would normally pay for a Fanatics jersey.
Wow, that's a good deal too.
Yeah, I think it was $126.
Yeah,
including free shipping to the store.
Wow.
And of course, the last one, I always mention this. eBay is where you can find some of your best deals. You got to be careful you avoid fakes, but if you can find a good deal, then eBay's your choice right there. And that's where I was able to find my Fisherman jersey.
Gotta get a Fisherman jersey.
$40.
$40 for a Fisherman jersey. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Jealous.
Sniped it.
Yeah.
What did TC get his for? And he was all proud of getting it for cheap.
He was over 100, but still.
Yeah,
How long
that's what
ago
I
was
thought.
this? Because once the Fisherman became popular,
I think it was the last time. Well, no. I'm talking about when TC got his. That was the last time I was on the podcast, which was several weeks ago. And the time I got it, I think it was 2012, maybe.
Oh yeah, that explains it.
Okay.
Yeah. If people stop saying that it looks so bad, it's good, which it does. Don't get me wrong, but once a jersey gets that status, people start buying it and putting money in, and then you can't get a Wild Wing.
Yep.
Not to cite a specific example.
I would say if you can find an Islanders fisherman jersey for under what, $250, you could almost You could almost consider that a deal.
Only if there's a player on the back.
$250 for a dark.
Doesn't have to be dark.
$150 for a white.
No. Like even the white jersey too. As long as there's a major player for it, or even the wave jersey if you want to include Zdeno Chara on the back of the jersey. But if you have a guy like Kenny Janssen or obviously Ziggy Palfy, is the big name, then that's a pretty good deal for a fisherman jersey.
John Tavares.
Shut up.
Oh.
Rick DiPietro.
Ugh, gross.
Can you imagine if you saw someone?
I've seen one of those.
No.
I've seen one of those on eBay.
No.
A John Tavares white fisherman jersey, and I wanted to throw up.
Yeah. If you've ruined a fisherman jersey with a current player, I may have to approach you in the arena and just ask you, why did you do that? A verbal punch to the face.
I actually have a question kind of regarding this, but should I save it for the mailbag?
Go ahead. No, go ahead now.
All right. If you found a very good deal on a fisherman, or any jersey for that matter that would normally go for a good bit of money, but it was a jersey foul, like Tavares on a fisherman, would you take it?
Yes, because you could strip it.
No for me, because it spoils it.
Well, it's a lot harder to do on the fisherman jersey because of how precise the customization has to be.
Yeah, I think I would take it if it was that good of a deal, especially if it was something that I was looking for, but otherwise I might not.
If I ever get a fisherman jersey, I think it's probably number 2 on my most wanted list right now. Maybe number 3. I'll put it at number 3.
Get Wendell Clark on the back of it.
Wendell Clark. I would love to get
Robert Reichel.
Robert Reichel. These are great names from the past.
Matthew
This is
Schneider.
fantastic. Schneids with the black skates. Fantastic.
Yep.
How about Kirk Muller? Did he wear the fisherman jersey?
Yes, he did. And we hated him.
And he hated Long Island, and he wanted
Of course
to
he
get
did.
But I'd get Jamie McLennan. He's a radio.
Oh, Noodles.
Noodles. He's a radio personality in Toronto right now. I love his work on the radio, so I'd get a Jamie McLennan jersey right now.
Yeah, I listened to a great interview with him and on the first version of the Jay and Dan podcast, and he was really funny.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, Darius Kasparaitis, another good name, by the way, for the fisherman jersey.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. That'd be like getting Brendan Gallagher or Brad Marchand or Patrick Coletta. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's the guy you love to have on your team and the guy you hate to face because he was just that much of a pest.
There's something that came up on, I think it was Hockey Night in Canada a couple weeks ago, talking about Kevin Stevens, how he got injured, hooked on pills, hooked on drugs, and his life has kind of gone downwards, and people are trying to help him out of it. But anyway, so Stevens gets injured in the 93 playoffs against the Islanders, slams his face into the ice, fractures his orbital bone, his nose, everything. Ooh. And it looks bad, and he's down on the ice. And Darius Kasparaitis, as soon as he hits the ice and doesn't get up, is sitting there like he waves his hand like, oh, forget this guy. He's faking it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, keep in mind, this guy also had to deal. I'm not sure what team he was with at that point, or which series that was, but like the second round of that playoff series for the Islanders, that he had to deal with Mario Lemieux pulling the same nonsense.
Oh, that's coming
except actually diving.
Coming from a diehard Islanders fan.
I wasn't even born when they made it to the conference final in '93.
And that's how the generation before you stuffed your mind with propaganda.
Yeah, well, no, it's not even propaganda. It's just like, oh, I'm paying attention to hockey now. I'm playing NHL. Oh, the Islanders suck. Never mind.
All right, let's get back on the deals train here. Brendan, you got a really good deal in your collection.
I've gotten quite a good amount of deals from eBay, and more recently I've found some on Reddit that have given me some good deals. I actually just a couple days ago got in Penn's Winter Classic 2011 jersey and a Blues late 90s jersey with the white one with a lot of red for about $80 combined. But 3 of jerseys actually stand out in my collection as pretty good deals. One of them is a Matt Duchene Avalanche jersey, Adidas Authentic, after he got traded, of course. Dix was selling them for, Justin would know because he got them too. I can't remember if it was $25 or $40, one of the two, but either way, they normally go for over $200. That's a good deal. I also got a Buffa Slug Authentic, Reebok Edge 1.0 for $40 on eBay. Considering what those went for, that's also a pretty good deal. And this one isn't the most glamorous out of the three, but it's the one that has the most story behind it. And it is a Bo Bennett Reebok Premier from the Penguins' alternate design, which is now their home design for the most part. So in the summer of 2016, Penguins traded Bennett, the oft-injured Bennett, to the Devils. And I was down by the waterfront. No, not the waterfront. I don't remember where it was, but I was eating at the Cheesecake Factory, and there was a Penn's Gear store nearby. So, of course, I had to stop in beforehand, bought some stuff, and saw that jersey for $25. Passed over to first, went to eat, and by the end of the meal, I was like, I shouldn't have passed up on that. So I made a trip all on my own back to the store just to pick up that jersey for $25. Came back and had it, and went on with my day.
So now that we've shared some great jersey deals, I heard you talk about the Buffa Slug. I also have a blue authentic Buffa Slug in my closet in my jersey collection. Edge 1.0. That's I like that it's the 1.0. But considering these deals, and maybe we just picked some of these up because they were deals, where do these jerseys stand in your collection? So, as I said, the Islanders jersey, if I didn't just get a Dallas Stars green jersey, I would have worn the Islanders jersey for this podcast because I want to be friends with Phil.
You don't have to be friends with me.
But like I said, the Buffa Slug jersey, sits in my collection. I'm really happy with that jersey. I'll bust it out any time because it's a conversation piece. It's important to me. So, a jersey that you've scored a deal on, and where does it stand in your collection? And maybe if you have an interesting story about it, Sean.
Yeah, the Mike Greer Buffalo jersey, I think, is the one of those three cool hockey jerseys I think that gets the most people looking, because he's a well-known name, but I don't think a lot of people would have thought I'm going to get him on a jersey. But he was just someone that I remember playing a lot as a kid, and I don't hate him, and I usually hate people in Buffalo. On top of that, the jersey came out of nowhere. This was a jersey that Cool Hockey probably hadn't had in stock since 2012. All of a sudden showed up, because that does happen sometimes. And on top of that, the felt numbers they're beautiful. And the fact that I got that for $50,
yeah, that's a good deal. And yes, those numbers they were the first numbers to do the faux stitching, and it's kind of intricate. And so to get that jersey for $50, that's tremendous. Phil, just where a deal jersey stands in your collection and any kind of special meaning.
Well, obviously the Hockey Fights Cancer jersey is a special jersey for me, just because of having family affected by cancer, and obviously I'm very partial towards the cause. I did make a point to wear this jersey specifically when I made my road trip down to Washington earlier this year, because it was Hockey Fights Cancer Night. So I went down with this jersey just because of that. And obviously it was a great deal. So it doesn't hurt that I had it there. As for the Adidas Indo Authentic, that's usually the jersey I wear most often now, just because of how beautiful the jersey is in comparison to basically any other Islander jersey that I own right now. It's just so much nicer.
Yeah, absolutely. The Adidas, I think jersey nerds know what they're getting when they say Adidas Authentic. I think we're pretty aware it's not close to what's on ice. Yeah,
no, because the only way you can get the Canadian Authentics is by going through the team itself, and that's usually by getting a game issued or game worn jersey, and that's almost twice the price of what I just got.
Yeah, exactly. So
screw that.
The word authentic jersey now has the same meaning as Reebok Premier or Reebok Replica or whatever you want to call it.
Plus a fight strap.
Plus a fight strap. That's exactly what it is. It is what it is, but Adidas has done I'll say a fine job on what they're offering us. Brendan, just where a deal jersey stands in your collection.
Well, I'll just quickly go over the three that I mentioned. The Bennett one, which I had the most story for, is actually the lowest on that list. It doesn't really have much meaning to me other than a nice deal, something nice to wear every once in a while. The Duchesne one comes next. It's a really nice jersey, but overall it's just another jersey in my collection. It's just nicer than the other one. The number quality still sucks, though, because it's the Reebok Premier type numbers. I couldn't get a custom stitch job with that. And the Buffa Slug Authentic, of course, ranks highest because it's one of my few Authentics. I think one of the only two that I have, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's a really nice jersey overall, and that I got a nice deal on it makes it even better.
Yeah, the nice deal sweetens the jersey. I'll just close this off with, for Christmas, I was given a Leafs jersey, a Reebok Leafs jersey with the new design. So there's really not too much difference from the Adidas jersey. And my size in Adidas jersey is hard to find, which I've discussed before. So I'm even considering getting another home blue jersey and just getting a different number on it because it's the Leafs, it's the hometown team, and right now they're on a good deal. So that does it for our jersey deal segment. If you ever find a great jersey deal, share it with HJC. We'd love to share it with all the other readers. Post a picture, tag us on Twitter, email it to us, whatever you got to do. We love to hear about that thing. Everyone else loves to hear about jersey deals and just loves to see new jerseys that everyone's getting all the time. Still,
tell us where to get it so that we can buy it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you get it first, right? And then tell everyone where the deal is. So,
and AliExpress does not count.
Nope, stay away. Sean's series on how to spot fakes or why not to buy fakes is fantastic. So on hockey,
I think it was part 4 that had the worst looking Rangers jersey I've ever seen. It was horrible.
The Winter Classic jersey that doesn't actually exist. You know what, Sean? I should add to your series because I've had 3 or 4 of my concepts interpreted as actual Winter Classic jerseys that have been made.
Penguins jersey that you have.
Yes, I do. I do own that. Yep. Yeah.
That doesn't happen much anymore, but there was a time when you could expect a concept on HJC to be taken.
Yeah.
And used by fake jersey designers. I think the last time that happened was the 2012 Winter Classic.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 times to be, so it's quite humorous. But anyways, on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, pay attention to Sean's series. It's really good. Still coming up later in the podcast is your chance to win a free HJC sticker, so be sure to listen for that. And now it's time for a Throwback Throwdown. This is where we take 2 throwback jerseys and pit them against each other. The writers review them individually and then choose a winner at the end. And I've decided to switch it up this time. We are doing the old Philadelphia Quakers. And again, this is a good chance to hop over to NHLuniforms.com and check out the only Philadelphia Quakers jersey from the 1930 to 31 season. And that's going up against the Pittsburgh Pirates jersey from 1925 to 1928. And the Pirates jersey is a yellow jersey with a serifed P and Pirates written above it. 2 stripes, 2 black stripes across the chest, 2 black stripes on the arm, and the city crest of Pittsburgh on the sleeve. It's also got square black shoulders and a black collar and black cuffs. And they were wearing old school brown pants with this jersey, which is always tremendous. The Quakers, on the other hand, is an orange jersey with black rounded yokes, black collar, thin black stripes running all the way down the sleeve, 3 black stripes on the hem, and black cuffs. So here we go. Let's start it off with the Philadelphia Quakers. Sean, quick review of this jersey.
Yeah, this is a classic design, I think. It's one of those designs from the early NHL with lots of striping, but because of the 2-color scheme, it actually works out quite nicely. It's something I think we'd like to see from the Flyers to throw back to at some point. I think my one problem with this, in fact, is the logo itself, which is quite weak. I think that a simple Q would have worked a lot better in this case. The fact that the team lasted, as short as it did, is quite disappointing, but This is a jersey that I think if you've been to the Hockey Hall of Fame, it's right at the front of the main display when you walk in. And it's a jersey I think that a lot of people, I hope, have had the opportunity to see in real life.
Yes, that's a great point. That it really sticks out at the Hall of Fame. You're attracted to it if you ever get the chance to go to the Hall of Fame. You can point it out. Doesn't matter where they were moving it to. Phil, your review of this jersey.
Just building upon Sean's point about the logo, if they had positioned the script differently so that the little tail that went underneath it was closer to the jersey and it was at a better angle, it would look a lot better. The one thing that I think is kind of funny, believe it or not, is that this jersey looks like an old style or an inspiration, if you will, to the Islanders' Brooklyn alternate jersey with the thin striping going along the jersey.
Yeah, I can
Am I
see
wrong?
that.
Am
No,
I wrong about that?
I can see that, definitely.
I mean, it's a bit of a stretch, but like the socks definitely do that for me. Anyway, so a nice two-tone jersey, black and orange, the unofficial colors of Philadelphia hockey, and it's definitely got a nice vintage look to it.
You know what? Maybe the Islanders saw that this was an impressive jersey. I'm going to say it's an impressive jersey, and decided that they could take that 4 stripes, 4 Stanley Cups, and kind of equate it to their own thing. And we'll get into that at some other time on the podcast with Sean, who is probably in love with that jersey.
I am.
I am too, okay? So don't get me into that fight.
That could get interesting. All right, Brendan, hit us up with your review of this jersey.
I'm not going to be able to say too much that hasn't been said yet. Very classic and nice design. I don't think a team could bring this back today. Let me put it this way. I don't think a team could bring this back today as a new design. If they're going for a vintage look like a Flyers Winter Classic, it would work beautifully. I don't think that's something a team could bring back today as a new design, but I don't really think that matters too much. It's a really nice look, and as opposed to Sean, I actually like the script. I could probably be cleaned up, but this was 1930, so a lot of things from back then could be cleaned up. And overall, the two-color color scheme works really well, and really simple, nice design. Pretty much has that barber pole look without being too over the top, or basically that lot of stripe look without being too over the top. So
who knows? At this time frame, it could have been the players' wives having to cut out the material and stitch it onto the jersey. I know. I know that comes up in Leafs jerseys where they had to reuse jerseys, and the players' wives would be stitching the jerseys, and so you'd get slight variations in each of the Leafs that the team would be wearing. So that may come up with this jersey too. Next up is the Pittsburgh Pirates jersey, and seeing as Brendan is a Pittsburgh hockey fan, let's go to him for the first review on that Pirates jersey. Brendan.
Well, as you guys know, I love color. This is a pretty much completely yellow jersey, lots of color. I love that part about it for sure. And as opposed to the Quakers jersey, I think this is a jersey that could easily be brought back by a team today as a brand new design, for the most part, and still look like a modern jersey. It wouldn't necessarily look like a vintage jersey. It definitely could, but it wouldn't necessarily if you did it the right way. But a few gripes that I have with it is the sleeve logos, the City of Pittsburgh seal, a little bit big. I think that would work better as a shoulder patch, and thinking about it now, kind of makes me wonder if they actually used that as inspiration on the 2017 Stadium Series with the large patches. And the number on the back and the front, I guess the logo, the slab serif P, not the script above it, that kind of clashes with the stripes, or the thin black stripe, but as I was going to say, fortunately it's a very thin stripe, so it's not that big of a deal. But modern day, probably something should still be done to make that stand out just a little bit more. But otherwise, it's a pretty nice jersey, pretty simple, pretty clean. The two-color scheme works well again, and it's a very nice look, I think.
All right, Phil, thoughts on the Pittsburgh Pirates jersey?
For that jersey, let me just say this. Having the seal of the City of Pittsburgh was very ahead of its time, because we didn't necessarily have even shoulder patches like that until later on in the NHL's lifetime, let alone an entire city seal. That being said, it is a bit obnoxious. It doesn't work too well because the city seal has a lot of blue in it as well, and you don't see the blue anywhere else on the jersey, which is to be expected for a jersey that's this old. You expect it to be a two-tone jersey, maybe three tones, like if we're talking about the Rangers, who came about not too long after this jersey debuted, and they had the red, white, and blue, or even the Canadiens for that matter, who were had multiple colors for quite a while. As for the jersey itself, it's a nice pattern. It's a balanced pattern. It's not great that the opening of the P is right on top of that one chest stripe. And the number on the back obviously overlaps the stripe as well, but it's not that big of a deal in comparison to the logo. And, of course, the word mark on top of it kind of adds to it, if you will. For a jersey of that age, so to speak.
Considering the design at the time, 1925, it may have been considered a modern design, a modern jersey.
It very much was for that era.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like it went out and tried some different things, and it succeeded on most of them, is what I would say. We'd go to Sean for his review, but he got pulled away due to a fire alarm. So we'll see. Maybe he'll jump back into this podcast at some point. While we're going,
may or may not still be alive.
Yeah, if you see Sean out there, let us know. Shoot us an email and let us know Sean's okay. Because
we've talked enough about Sean.
By the way, let me just say this real quick. I'm gonna feel really bad if something actually happened to him.
Yeah,
yeah, no kidding.
We're terrible people.
It just seemed like a simple fire alarm. So let's hope Sean's okay. He wasn't on fire when we last saw him, so that's a plus.
Not on fire.
Like your high school fire drill, hopefully.
Yeah, or like someone smoking pot in the stairwell of the college dorm or whatever, and the alarm goes off.
All right.
Anyways, a quick note about the Pirates jersey too.
Yeah.
I mentioned the front stripe coming conflicting with the front P, and you mentioned how it goes right through the middle. But considering how old this design is, I wonder how often it may have varied just a little bit. As we were talking with like the Leafs wives kind of hand stitching the jerseys together, or stitching the logo on the jersey. I wonder if it kind of varied and that position moved a little bit. Maybe the size of the P even changed.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of curious. It's not that I can really find out, but it might not have necessarily been like that every time.
There might be multiple jerseys left in existence. It'd be interesting to see. Just on any jersey from, the 1920s, 1930s, even the early 1900s, just the variation you would see. And what was considered, conformity or consistency at the time would now be looked at as two completely different jerseys, which would be interesting. But it's now time to pick our winners for Throwback Thursday, or Throwback Throwdown, pardon me. Phil, go first. Who do you got? Philadelphia Quakers or Pittsburgh Pirates?
Let's see. I'm gonna have to say, like, the color scheme appeared better with the Pirates, and of course, it being a little ahead of its time was kind of nice, as opposed to the awkward script of the Quakers jersey. So I'm gonna say the Pirates jersey.
One for the Pirates jersey. Brendan, who do you got?
This is a really tough one because each of them both have their own positives, and the Quakers one actually had less negatives for me, and I don't feel as bad doing this because it's not Penguins and Flyers. Rather than it's just two old defunct teams that don't actually have any link to the current teams.
Well, not even just that. It's like they were technically the same franchise. They moved. Yeah,
that's a good point too. And then what? Didn't Philly move to St. Louis and then die?
No. The Quakers suspended operations in relation to the Great Depression and the fact that they also only had 4 wins in the entire year.
So they just died in Philly.
And they officially folded 4 years later after their suspension of operations.
I think I'm thinking of the old Senators. Didn't they move to St. Louis and then die?
Possibly.
All right, anyways, back on topic. The Pirates jersey is nice, but it has a few issues, as I've mentioned. The Quakers one, I didn't really have many issues with, so I'm going to have to go with that one.
Quakers, that's tied 1-1, and that forces me to break the tie. And I've convinced myself, and you guys have convinced me during this segment, so I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates, due to them trying to come up with a modern jersey in the 1920s, and I think a lot of it succeeded. So the winner of this Throwback Throwdown, the Pittsburgh Pirates 1925-28 jersey. Now is your chance to win a free HJC sticker. And for your chance to win that sticker, hop onto Twitter and tweet about this podcast. Be sure to provide a direct link to this episode and tag us at HockeyJC. A winner will be randomly selected from those that entered and will be announced here on the podcast next week. So that's your chance to win a free HJC sticker. Hop on Twitter, provide a direct link to this podcast, tag us at HockeyJC, and that's your chance to win a free HJC sticker. Coming up next, we're going to do Fake or Authentic. Fake or Authentic. And as the big song says, it's now time for Fake or Authentic. This is where I give 3 statements, and you guys say whether it's a fake statement or an authentic statement. Here we go. First statement: I own an All-Star Game jersey from any league in the world. Sean, you're back. You made it back. You're okay.
He's not dead.
He's not dead. He's not on fire. What happened, Sean?
Yeah, the building I am in, a washing machine malfunctioned severely, and it was enough to get the fire department involved.
Fantastic.
That's not what you told us a few moments ago.
Well, I used the word exploded, but
Yeah.
was
Was it not as bad as it actually sounded, or the way that you made it sound whenever you said it exploded?
It was. Well, we don't know.
Really, someone put in their laundry and forgot to close the lid. That's all that happened.
Well, I don't know. The machines in the building are about 10 years old, but I will say it is minus 14
Ooh,
in Halifax right now, and I was wearing sandals.
that's Celsius. For all you Americans, get out your
That's
Googlers.
Celsius.
All right,
That's
Sean,
right.
fake or authentic, do you own an All-Star Game jersey? Any league in the world?
Fake, and I wish I did, namely the 2002 NHL All-Star Game jersey, the blue one. No, the reason why I think is because unless the city I live in is hosting it, for example, which Toronto hosted one when I was 4, it's not something that I go out of my way to look for. They cost the same as a regular jersey, if not slightly more. They require a little more in customization. For example, the NHL ones, you have to get a team logo sewn onto the shoulder or a flag patch sewn on, as well as the numbers going on. So they're just something that I've avoided so far. I will get one eventually, but fake for now.
Phil, fake or authentic on this?
Fake once again. I almost had my hands on, I know it kind of digressing from the whole hockey jersey concepts thing. I almost had my hands on a Major League Soccer All-Star Game jersey from when they had a game over at Red Bull Arena, but it kind of slipped through. Just going on what Sean said, they have them on sale at the Islanders team store, and they already took care of the customization for you correctly, so that you had John Tavares or Josh Bailey on it, and they had the Islander logo, they had the numbers, and the correct pattern that they have, the specialty design and stuff. So it's not that hard to acquire an accurate one, unless, of course, you don't have the financial means for it, which at the moment I do not.
Brendan, fake or authentic on this?
Fake, but there are a few that I wouldn't mind picking up, namely some of the ones that we talked about earlier that we all liked. And I kind of have to piggyback off of Sean on this one. I think that for the most part, unless it's a really nice design, an All-Star Game jersey probably just isn't really something special to me unless it's either in my city or something special happens in the All-Star Game, which, I mean, it's a fun game to watch sometimes, especially to see the players' personalities come out a little bit, but usually nothing too special happens in those games. But if I were to actually think about picking up one at this point, I would honestly maybe look into one of the KHL ones from this year, because those were some beautiful jerseys.
Yeah,
those were nice.
Yeah,
And
this year's
that
KHL.
would be, not probably, but it would be my first KHL jersey. That would be
Get an Ilya
a bit of
Kovalchuk
a
one.
unique one for my collection.
I will add that if you do want one, the Atlantic Division jerseys from last year, the nice yellow jerseys that Austin Matthews and Shea Weber and all them wore, is on for $60 on Sports K.
There you go.
That's probably the
Should take a
best
look
deal
at that. That was
for an
a
All-Star
pretty
Game
nice
jersey right now. And those jerseys did sell out fairly quickly, so you would be getting your hands on a fairly rare All-Star Game jersey.
And they were a pretty nice look, especially those colored ones.
Yeah, they didn't do too bad. Yeah, I would have to. I'm with you guys. The game would have to be in my city, Toronto, for me to be interested in purchasing one. Fake or
And by the
authentic?
way, just for the record, that's $48.73 American.
No, it's 60 in American.
Oh, 60
Sports
American.
K,
Oh,
Sports K is based
That's
out of
trash.
Michigan.
Or as TC
Okay.
would say, is that freedom dollars or monopoly money? Fake or authentic, the hardest shot competition is the best part of the skills competition. Brendan, I'll let you take this one first.
I say fake, but didn't they also take out the shootout competition this year?
It's a little bit different. So it's up to the goalies now to get a save streak going. So the players will come
Okay.
in on them on mini breakaways, and it'll be up to the goalies this year to accumulate a streak of saves.
Well, I think either way I say fake because the shootout competitions are definitely interesting, but with the hardest shot, if you have Chara and or Weber there, you pretty much know who's going to win unless their stick breaks, something like that, and either way they still get a few shots. And it's interesting to see, but it's not like anything that it's nothing special. You know that you're going to see somebody shooting a puck harder than net and then getting a score for it. You're not seeing anything too unique out of that.
Phil, fake or authentic?
Fake. There is one event that everyone looks forward to. Well, first things first, just in terms of actual hockey skills, the skills challenge relay is so much better because there's so much stuff going on and so little time to get it all done, and so much teamwork is required to get all of these things done between passing, puck control, stick handling. And last year they had goalie goals. I'm not sure if they're going to have that again this year.
No, they took it out.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But other than that, the other thing that everyone looks forward to is the free. I don't think it's actually called this, but the freestyle shootout, where like you have some fun doing what you want in terms of your shootout goal. Like we've seen some of the best photos from the skills competition from that event, like Alex Ovechkin wearing the hat and sunglasses. Brent Burns with a Chewbacca mask, PK Subban dressed like Jaromir Jagr. That is the one event you look forward to in the skills competition.
And it might be gone this year. I'm not going to...
I know,
Yeah.
and it sucks.
Yeah. Sean, fake or authentic? Hardest shot competition, the one you look forward to. Best part?
Fake, because I really enjoy the accuracy competition.
Agreed.
That is something that I think is the quintessential skill. That and fastest skater, I think, are the two quintessential NHL skill things. And the other thing is that it's been two guys for the past 10 years. It's Weber or Chara.
Yeah.
Like, I do
Neither
wish
of them are all-stars this year, by the way.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking. That might be interesting to see this year, but either way, you're still just seeing people shooting a puck at a net hard.
Yeah, it might be. And I feel like it's going to be a while before we get one of those big record-breaking shots. If you'd asked me 10 years ago when Chara was firing those record-breaking shots, then oh yeah. But
Once Ryan Pulock gets into an all-star game, which I don't think that'll happen anytime in the near future, then you may see that.
All right, fake or authentic? This is the final statement. They could do away with the actual All-Star game and just have the skills competition. Fake or authentic? Phil, start us off on this one.
Authentic. The All-Star game has gotten worse and worse and worse. I mean, once they went to the 3-on-3 format, it was okay, especially with the whole John Scott storyline where he ended up scoring a goal. He had a fight, if you will, with Patrick Kane, which was hilarious. But other than that, just watching the game is boring, honestly. It's like I could watch the same quality hockey going down to the local rink and having a couple guys playing 3-on-3 over there.
Sean, fake or authentic?
I love the All-Star game itself. And particularly, I want the World versus North America format to come back. And I can see Ryan shaking his head because it really was something that existed for a very short period of time. But I was young enough and impressionable enough at the time that it left a lasting impact on me. And I felt like it was the most interesting. You had some of the most interesting lines. It was a little like getting a more meaningful World Championship game, I think, was what you got out of that, which is saying something. So
See, I felt that format was the start of killing the game and killing any interest because there was no real competition. You're trying to force it that, All-Stars from North America really wanted to beat All-Stars from the rest of the world. And that's...
I heavily disagree on that. It was the game where Toronto's All-Star was Thomas Caberlet that killed it for me because Toronto stopped sending good All-Stars that year.
They stopped being good, probably, so you have to take someone. And if Matt Sundin is tired of going, I guess you got to take a different guy.
Yeah.
All right, Brendan Faker.
Go
ahead, Phil.
Let me just interject real quick. A couple more points about just getting rid of the actual All-Star game. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, Rick DiPietro actually got hurt during it. And so, obviously, the risk of injury is greater in goalies. But just even the risk of injury in general, you don't want to see that during an All-Star game of all places. And not only that, but this year, there shouldn't even be an All-Star game this year. We should be sending NHL players to the Olympics. Seriously.
That's a good debate.
I hate to take this side a little bit, but I'm pretty sure part of the reason they aren't sending players to the Olympics is because of injuries. If you're worried about players getting injured in one All-Star game, I mean, I'm sure that's part of it to some degree. Probably not at all.
No, it's not. It's not about it at all. It's all about whether or not the IIHF wants to pay for insurance for these players, and they don't.
Yeah, and they don't want to accommodate.
And the NHL's like, if you're not going to pay it, then screw you. We're not going.
Yeah, that's exactly what. That's a convenient excuse for them not to go to South Korea, which they felt they would not nearly have the same exposure. Yet they will go to China, and the 2020, what are we talking? 2026 games are scheduled to be in North America, so they're going to those ones too. All right, Brendan, fake or authentic? They could do away with the All-Star game.
All right, I'm going to look into the wording of this one, and I'm going to say that it's authentic that they could do away with it, but I'm going to say fake that they should do away with it. I do think the All-Star game is somewhat interesting, especially whenever you see some of the players' personalities coming out. Like, whenever I was looking earlier and making out my list of jerseys, I was looking at the last year's All-Star game a little bit, and just the one clip that I ended up happening to end up scrolling to randomly, I saw Braden Holtby behind the net sticking the puck going back and forth a little bit with somebody pressuring him. And I think it's kind of fun to see some of the players just kind of having fun and messing around. Not even if they aren't putting their all into it, I think it's kind of fun to see them kind of take some more liberties in that game than they would do in another game. And especially since they're, the All-Stars, they would probably have better hands and better skills to be able to pull some of that stuff off a lot of the times. So I think they could do away with the All-Star game if they wanted to, but I don't think they should.
I'm going to go with authentic on this one. I think they could do away with the All-Star game. Just go with the skills competition. I would love to see some sort of, even if you wanted to do a 2-day tournament with random skills. I loved the obstacle course where they had to saucer pass into mini nets. They had that sometimes, and just those kind of things, deking around pucks.
That's skills relay.
I was going to say, that's what I thought.
So you could break that up into different events. If you wanted to have a tournament, I think it would be really cool if you had a bunch of players enter, and then you could really focus on, here we go. This is Taves versus Kane, or Matthews versus McDavid, or whatever, something like that, or Crosby versus Giroux. These are matchups you could sell. And I think that would be a lot more interesting than an All-Star game. And you would, we get rid of this whole every team has to have one representative. Enough of this.
Scrap that.
Yeah, enough of this fair play business.
Montreal should not have an All-Star this year. Yeah. Let's make this completely clear. I can get at least why Jack Eichel's going, but man, some of these All-Stars are. Ekman Larson is like a minus 36.
He plays on the Coyotes though, and plus minus is a horrible stat.
I don't think anybody on the Coyotes, anybody on Montreal should be going to the All-Star game this year because you're not an All-Star.
Could say the same
Oliver
about
Ekman Larson definitely should be going.
No.
Kind of unrelated, but I'm kind of surprised they picked Letang for the All-Star game, considering how he didn't have the greatest start to the season.
I agree.
Especially over Phil Kessel. I mean, I know it's a defense and offense thing, but didn't they pick Braden Point to replace the one of the defensemen in the Atlantic that can't go now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can guarantee
Points
they had Riley picked. I can guarantee you.
That's true too. But
So-
still, at this point, they have a forward going in place of a defenseman. I'm sure they could probably fit Phil in there if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
He's having a much better season.
That also comes down to who says yes and who says no to going to the All-Star game. I don't know.
Isn't it illegal to say no now?
It kind of is, actually, because they got
You get
Ovechkin.
suspended, don't you?
Yeah, Ovechkin got suspended for it.
Yeah, he got suspended 2 games, or was this back in the day when he was suspended and he said he didn't want to go?
No, it was 1 game. He was selected, didn't want to go, and didn't go, and got suspended because of it.
There was Crosby in 2009. He said this was the one in Montreal. He said he didn't want to go, and the NHL stepped up and said, "Nope, sponsors are counting on you. You better get there."
Bingo.
All right,
That's why you can't opt out.
that was a good edition of Fake or Authentic.
Mailbag.
As you heard the choir say, it's time for the HJC Mailbag. Let's open it up and see.
I never get tired of that theme.
Let's see what we got inside the mailbag. Nice letter here. It's written in crayon, so it's a 3-pager. But let's go ahead and read it. How long
so
until?
they're like 6 words on it.
Yep, yeah, and there's a couple pictures of all the writers drawn and included in the envelope. So that was very nice. Let's see who wrote this letter. How long until Vegas gets picked to host a special event, provided that they continue to have on-ice success? And which event do they get first? And that's
I should have never told you that was mine.
that's,
I was just setting you up for making fun of it.
that's from longtime listener, friend of the show, Beepo. Beepo, these are fantastic drawings. Thank you for sending them. They look awesome. And your penmanship is really coming along. Well done. Well done.
Mine to start.
All right, so how long until Vegas gets picked to host a special event? I'll start us off right here. I'm saying they host the All-Star Game next year. Sean?
I'm going to say within the next 3 seasons, because I feel like they have next year's already picked out, and I don't think it'll be Vegas. And I hope Winnipeg hosts it before Vegas. Gary Bettman, if you do not let Winnipeg host before Vegas, I will be very upset. I'm not buying any more of your stupid jerseys.
Yeah,
That's
right.
not true.
Yeah, right.
That's not true. That's not true at all. No, but yeah, within the next 2 seasons, I think they want to check to make sure that this isn't just a one-off fluke thing. Regardless of on-ice success, if the fans show up, that's all that matters. That's all they care about. And Vegas has done a wonderful job to show that they should host the NHL All-Star Game. I just wouldn't do it after 1 year.
Phil, how long until Vegas gets a special event?
You're not counting the NHL awards as a special event?
No, that is a
I think-
gong show of an event, and that
I can't
should be
remember if I
scrapped.
put that in the question,
remember one
but
year
I
they
think
had
I just
Nick-
qualified that because they've already been hosting it.
I watched it for the Vesnas and then turned it
No.
off.
The worst part was a couple of years ago, they had Nickelback performing.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, excuse me?
Sean versus the world.
Sean
but
did not
anyway,
mind NHL
okay.
11 when
No,
Nickelback
but-
was in the soundtrack.
Oh no.
Damn copyrights. So I will say this. They're never going to host a Winter Classic for the same reason you're not going to see it in Florida or Arizona, because of the heat. And it gets a lot worse than, say, having it in LA when they had it, the Stadium Series over at Dodger Stadium. So I'm going to say the same thing about the Stadium Series. It's going to be an All-Star game, and it will be within the next 2 to 4 years.
I'd be interested to see if they do, in fact, announce next year's All-Star Game at this year's event, or maybe on Monday, or even just branching off from that. I wouldn't be surprised if we...
Won't announce it until the beginning of the next season.
No, you don't think so? Okay. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Leafs Stadium Series jersey this upcoming week, but that's another topic.
Right.
Brendan, do you want to answer your own question?
You just cut out there, but I'm pretty sure I know what you said. I actually don't think I can hear anybody right now.
Well, that would be a problem because he did not
but
actually
I'm
come
just
out.
going to keep talking and hope that you guys aren't talking over me. Assuming that you guys can hear me, and by Ryan's reaction, I think you are, but or I think you can. But I think that Vegas, I think they might get an All-Star. Well, they're definitely going to get an All-Star game in the next few years, especially probably next year. Well, they might get it. I would think that if they were smart, they might actually go for it next year. Capitalize on the hype that Vegas is getting from being such a good team right now before they possibly slump down and start doing bad again, maybe lose some of that hype. And I think Stadium Series isn't something that would be too out of the question, especially considering they did a few in California. I think if they keep their success up, a Stadium Series could come by in the next couple of years.
I could see them doing a Stadium Series, kind of an anniversary of that Kings-Rangers game that they did in the Caesars Palace parking lot. So that would be interesting. Thanks for...
they probably have it at UNLV, to be honest with you, though.
Yeah, pack more fans in. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the question, Brendan. We love the questions. Keep them coming.
I missed it before. Thanks for the question, but you're welcome.
Another question. How do you go about sorting or organizing your jersey collection? Sean, how do you sort and organize your jersey collection?
I organize it by league, so NHL, AHL, ECHL, CHL, in that order, and then everything else just sort of falls around based on that. And then I organize it by alphabetical city name, and then if there's two of them, it's chronological. So
Excellent.
Say, for example, you have the two Winnipeg Jets franchises. The first Winnipeg Jets franchise will come first, then the second, and then it goes home, away, alternate, heritage, or, outdoor, whatever.
I am exactly the same as you are on my organization. That's pretty cool. Phil, do you have any organization of your jersey collection?
Well, first things first, I organize it by sport. I have a lot of soccer jerseys. I have a lot of hockey jerseys, less so baseball, basketball, football. So we separate that. For both of them, though, the league does not matter. I just put it in alphabetical order by team name. Okay, and I know Sean's shaking his head at me right there, but I do have a Team USA jersey mixed between my Senators jersey and my Vancouver Canucks jersey that I have. I have my New York now Metropolitan Riveters jersey. After the Rangers jersey I have, just in case I lose a bet, by the way. I should say that. I should clarify. I only have that in case I lose a bet. And other than that, it's basically, if I have multiple jerseys of the same team, I have it in chronological order. Like it goes Fisherman, Wave, Navy, or the Navy era, if you will, the pajama jerseys, the current set, and then the Adidas one after that. And depending on when an alternate came out is when you would see where an alternate would fit into that pattern.
Very intricate. Brendan?
I have OCD, by the way.
Brendan, do you organize your jerseys in any particular manner?
Not much, actually. The only organization that I really have is I have towards the back jerseys that are slightly smaller on me, or ones that I just don't wear as often. And towards the front, I just keep the ones that I wear more often. And I'm pretty sure I'd organize them more if I could more easily get into the closet and more easily get to all of them. But the way that my closet is set up, it's kind of partly behind a wall, so I really have to reach back to get to it. I can show you on the video right now. Nobody else
tonight on the Mature HJC podcast. Brian mentions his closet
behind a wall, so it's harder to reach back there. Really, I have to actually reach back into it, and it's harder to get to.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
For that reason, I mainly don't organize them as much as you do. Also, a side note, Phil, you have a Rangers jersey. Another usage for you for that. Ugly sweater party around Christmas.
See, problem with that. I have one of those specialty ugly sweater Islander sweaters.
Okay.
So
See,
I
have
that.
a Flyers jersey too that I got for Christmas. I feel like I probably mentioned on a podcast or something before.
Probably.
I have that partly because I want at some point every single team's jersey, and for two, ugly sweater parties. I mean,
right.
All right, this next question comes in from Burka Circus, and I'll just answer it. Who won the Quad City Mallards?
Good friend.
Who won the Quad City Mallards military jersey competition? The answer is no one. We sent all the entries to the team, and they chose.
And they hated it.
They chose no one's entry, and they did not get back to us to tell us that they chose no one's entry. So that's part of the risk when you have these competitions. The same thing may happen with the Semiamu competition that we just finished up.
I hope not. I had a great jersey for that.
I hope not too, but it's a risk, and that's why we suggested that people watermark their concepts because you don't want the team to come back and say, nope, we're not choosing anything, and then all of a sudden you see your jersey.
Just kidding, we are, and screw you.
Yeah, exactly. It can happen. These are minor league teams that need to save money. So no one won the Quad City Mallards military jersey competition. So thank you, Burkus. And our final question
let me just say something before you get into that. I'm happy that the Islanders ECHL affiliate beat up the Mallards pretty badly now, just because you said that.
Who is the Islanders ECHL?
Worcester Railers.
The Railers, okay.
Worcester.
Right.
Worcester Railers.
You got to Worcester.
Our final question
over there
comes in from Dave H. This is a decent question. Would you rather have free sick? Oh, pardon me. Would you rather have?
I would not like free sickness. Thank you very much.
Free sick.
Oh man, some terrible ways I could go with that are only funny to me. Never mind. Would you rather have free season tickets to your favorite team for the rest of your life, or free tickets to every game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final for the rest of your life? So you're guaranteed to have a Stanley Cup Final ticket for the rest of your life. So free season tickets or free game 3 ticket to every Stanley Cup Final. Sean, what do you choose?
I'm going to choose the Game 3 ticket because Game 3s tend to be interesting because they can decide where a series goes.
Interesting.
Someone's going to win it, or it's going to get close to a sweep. Those are your two options there. Somebody takes the lead, or it goes 3-0 and the brooms come out. So it's honestly the best game you could go to in any playoff series.
Aside from the winning game.
Sure, but
you can't guarantee that.
You don't know which one the winning game is.
Yeah.
Unless you're a fan of the losing team, then the winning game might not be so good.
You got to take your chances.
That's also true.
In that situation, you got to take your chances. Go for.
Oh, I totally would.
Go for broke in the final. You're a Penguins fan.
Well,
you
winning.
would
because the Penguins have never. Every single cup the Penguins have won, the last game was on the road.
Yeah.
And the one that they lost was at home.
The only cup that's been won the only cup they've won in Pittsburgh was, or that's been won in Pittsburgh was by Detroit.
Yep.
I can't wait for Austin Matthews to high stick Sidney Crosby in the third in overtime in Game 6 of the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, and no penalties called, and Toronto goes on to win the Stanley Cup, and Pittsburgh gets nothing, and you're going to say, oh.
Yeah, now they finally get the comeuppance for Gretzky.
That was the Kings.
That took a different turn there, but all right, good stuff. Phil, what are you taking on this?
I'm taking season tickets because that way I actually have more money that I can spend on traveling to Stanley Cup Final games.
Good point.
Plus, with the Islanders, of course, you have the playoff priority wherever. And not only that, but depending on where those season tickets are, you can get some pretty nice deals that include food. And I'd like to not spend money on food at a hockey game.
Yeah,
especially when I can have it for free. And not only that, but they said free tickets to every Game 3 for the rest of your life at the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah.
Transportation's not included in that, and if I have to go all the way out to freaking Vancouver, well, actually, no, I'm probably not going to have to go to Vancouver ever for that. But if I have to go out west or something for a game like that, or to some city that you don't really fly to regularly,
Edmonton.
Or a city unlike LA, for example, since I'm flying out of New York, it's going to be a lot more expensive. So I'll take the season tickets.
Brendan?
Yeah, partly for reasons that Phil said, I'm also going to have to take the season tickets. It's a tough choice, but for one, I think that I would be a lot more passionate for my own team than I would be for potentially two teams. Obviously they're not random teams, but just two teams that I don't necessarily have any sort of attachment to. As good of a game it might be, I don't really know. I don't think I'd have the sort of emotional attachment to cheer for them or anything really as much as I would otherwise. Not to mention, if in the question that the Cup Final tickets don't include travel, then that would be an extra expense. Plus, if you get the season tickets, you can always sell them if you can't make it, get some extra money on that. And maybe, who knows, if you sell enough of your season tickets, maybe you can buy some Stanley Cup Final Game 3 tickets anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys have sold me. I'm going to take the free season tickets on this one as well. Good questions. excellent stuff in the mailbag. If you want to get your question answered on the HJC podcast, there's a form on the side of the page on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. You can leave your question there. You can also email it to us, mailbag@hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. And if you got a great question, we'll answer it on the podcast. And that just concludes about everything we have scheduled here. Sean, Phil, Brendan, thanks for joining me today.
Anytime.
Thanks for having me.
Great to be on again.
Yep, and let's try and keep the fire alarms out of it next time, okay, Sean?
I'll do my best. I'll make sure.
To be fair, we did keep the swearing out of it, so that's a plus.
Yeah. It went well this week. This week didn't have to pull out the censor button. Just a reminder that if you're listening to this for the week of January 27th, we have the Concept of the Year final vote going on right now. Jake's Pittsburgh jersey against Ryan's All-Star Game jerseys. That's me. Yes, I made it to the Concept of the Year finals, so pretty excited about that.
It's not rigged, I promise you. It's not rigged.
It really isn't rigged. Ask anybody. I have no interest in rigging these competitions. So that vote ends Friday at noon Eastern time. We also have the season, so we have 15 teams entered into that. That's an anonymous competition, so that gets started soon. HJC stickers are for sale, but also if you listened to the podcast, you had a chance to win a free one, so go back and take a look for that. If Steve was on the podcast, he'd tell you about all the great Jersey Casual shirts we have up, so you can find those on the shop tab on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com.
I'll tell you about it right now. I have mine, and it looks awesome.
Which one do you have, Phil?
I have fish sticks.
Sticks.
What else would I have?
Of course. Good point. So you can get that and many other designs on the shop tab on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. And, of course, we would love to get some feedback on these episodes, and we want you guys to get involved in the conversation. So we'd love to have some comments. Email in what you think of the show. Feedback is what we'd thrive on. We'd love to hear what you think of these podcasts. And, of course, you can listen, download, share, and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and, of course, hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. That'll do it for this week, and thanks for listening, everyone. And that's it.
All right.
All right, sweet. I'm
All
going
right.
to go